Hello. Welcome back, guys. So this week I'm working on a couple of pieces. Sorry, I'm being slightly distracted here. I'm trying to set up this piece to show you because I'm so excited and I'm not thinking straight, so I'm just doing everything all at once. But basically it's this piece here, which I believe I showed you before, and today I'm going to weld it up. So right now it's all a bit wobbly, and how do you connect it? It's incredibly heavy, these metal bars, and I really want it to be fixed as thoroughly as possible to the wooden frame. So my current plan is to cut a few bars the perfect size and fix them in between here at intervals all the way along the frame. If I do 2 or 3 of them, hopefully in the top here and the bottom there, and maybe one down here, also maybe one. I'm not too sure yet. I'm gonna keep cutting a few and see what I think is best. But I don't want to take all the entire frame down to the Geileref, which is literally a 10-minute cycle down the road, because it's just quite a lot of material to lug down there. And I had an idea that should make things a bit more simple, and it involves making something called a jig. So basically a jig is a pre-set frame. You basically lay out a wooden structure on the table. You then just put all the pieces of wood in exactly the same place, screw them together, and it allows you to really rapidly make a series of copies of an object. This is somewhat similar, so I'm basically recreating this, and then you have another one down here. So it's like a wooden, it's called a jig, a wooden object that holds the thing that you're going to weld precisely where you want it, and that's basically what I'm making at the moment. So I've not explained this very well. Lately I've been doing a lot of string work, and you know what that is now, and I thought this is a bit more of behind the scenes of what it is that I'm doing to make the frames and to make the works. So it's quite physical work, but I will continue to make the jig and record what it is that I'm doing. Okay. Okay, perhaps I didn't explain it very well earlier, but now I can just demonstrate exactly what I was talking about. So this is the jig. This is one of them, and this is the other one here. And basically you can now see how they both fit in and hold the bars exactly the distance that I want, and that way these metal pieces you know, fit in between, and rather than trying to hold it and you know, mess about, and you don't need like another person or anything like that, it's basically just holds everything in place exactly where you want it. So now I just need to figure out how to make some sort of jig to hold these in place. Okay, so I've just finished making the jig for the cross-section bars, for the cross bracing, for the strength bars, whatever you want to call them. It's basically just a very simple block with a notch cut out of it. I'm recycling wood as well. This is like an old IKEA chair. But yeah, so it'll sit in the middle like this. And then basically the piece just sits in the notch, and that way, yeah, it holds it perfectly in place. And then I'll drop a spot of weld there, a spot of weld there, flip the whole frame over and weld the other 2 sides, and then I imagine that'll be incredibly strong. So that's the idea, and yeah, we'll see how it turns out later on. The one final check is, if you imagine this is the wood where it's going to be. Obviously this is all messed up now, don't judge me too bad, but this is all going to be wrapped behind string, and I'm not a big fan of waste. So, you know, I tried to make a piece of this a while back and didn't really like it. I pulled it all apart and did some damage to the wood, but all that's going to be hidden underneath the structure that I'll build on top. So, yeah, really not an issue, and structurally it's fine. The last test, as you can see, it fits in everywhere that it needs to. So basically this jig is fine, and yeah, it's gonna sit here in the middle like so, and then I'll fasten it to the wood using a couple of metal brackets, and then yeah, then that frame's finished and I can start working on the surface. So that's that done. I'm going to head down to the welding place now. Hey guys, so I've just come back from the welding. That was yesterday, so I haven't come back from it. The welding was completed yesterday, and now I'm back here in the studio. I was working on, I've been working on this piece over here, and also this piece. I just attached the welded frame that I made yesterday over in the Keilerwerf to the wooden part of the frame. So now it's looking really nice, and basically following, I'm looking for it now, following the rough sketch that I've got, there's a few places where I intend to expose the metal bar, and that'll be in this area, and this area. And that translates in reality to the bottom section here, the midsection here, and the top section just here on this side. So the only decisions that I have to make now are, do I want it to remain this kind of oxidized, rusty finish, or do I want to shine the metal up so it's you know, raw and kind of shiny, if that makes sense. Now I'm leaning towards the more natural look, because I think over time it's going to turn into that anyway, and I don't really want to have to shine it up and seal it in some way. And you know, if I wanted it like that, then I would have bought material, stainless steel, in the beginning. This is, you know, recycling an old water pipe, and I'm trying to integrate some of its natural qualities into the piece. That's the entire point in using recycled materials. But yeah, there's actually quite an uneven area here. From the side, it's actually on an angle. So I'm going to file down the metal like so, and then depending on how long it's going to take, hopefully in 10-15 minutes that'll be done, and then I can kind of decide later on if I want to change the surface of the metal within the frame. But this is going to be much more difficult to do once the string is on there, so I just want to make that as flat as possible and aesthetically as nice as possible. So I'm going to file that and then decide what to do next. Yeah, frame's completed now. Just been editing up the vlog this week, and we're already up to like 8 minutes, so I'm going to call it quits there and pick up with this next week or the week after with the surface and the wrapping and all the other things that need to be done on it. Like, I always say this about my pieces, but I really think that this is going to be one of the best pieces I've ever made. I mean, it's difficult to be objective at this moment in time because you're so excited and kind of involved with the piece. But yeah, I think it embodies some of the things that I've been trying to push towards. There's certain works which lack elegance, and certain works which embody this rigidity and this solidity in a negative way, but I think that this embodies it in quite a positive way. So yeah, that's the reason why I think it's going to be one of the best pieces, if not the best piece I've ever made, when it's completed. I was thinking about the other works that I've done, but yeah, there's about 6 pieces in this unit that are now, once this surface is done, there's going to be 6 pieces in the unit that are now finished, ready to paint. And I'm getting a bit antsy because it's been several months since I've painted anything, and several months since there's been any work that's been finished. And I've got a show coming up in about 2 months, and I really want to exhibit some new work. So once this is done in the next week, I think I'm going to start painting the 6 pieces that are ready. There are some other frames that have a lot of metal work to be done on them, and that takes a lot longer than my usual process. Usually I just use wood and string, and it's easy to very rapidly make a surface. This requires a lot more planning and a lot more use of technical equipment, of which I don't actually have access to all the time. I've not bought a welder because I'm not 100% sure if it's the right thing to do, especially now I've made this contact down the road. He's a professional welder and he's got a welding workshop, so it seems kind of extravagant right at this moment in time to buy one. Not 100% sure yet, maybe in a month or two I'll change my mind. But the point I'm trying to make is, this is ready to go, and thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you next week. Okay, bye.